For 80 years, Germany had one unspoken rule: stay quiet, stay restrained, never again become the kind of country that frightens its neighbors. And it worked. Germany became the economic engine of Europe, powerful, but deliberately non-threatening. Then 2025 arrived, and Germany made an announcement that shocked the continent. It was going to rearm, rebuild, lead Europe like never before. Germany decided it wanted to become a superpower. And here's where it gets fascinating, because the same week Germany announced this ambition, its economy was shrinking, its workforce was disappearing, and it had just inherited a pension bill that grows larger every year automatically, whether the economy booms or collapses. Germany wants to be a superpower, but can it actually afford to be one? That's not a rhetorical question, it's a mathematical one. And when you run the real numbers, you find an answer that nobody in Berlin, Brussels, or Washington is saying out loud yet. That's what this video is about. Let's get into it. For decades, Germany had one economic identity: fiscal discipline. While Southern European countries borrowed freely, Germany balanced its budget like a religion. They even wrote it into their constitution, a rule called the Schuldenbremse, which literally translates to debt break. The government was legally required to keep borrowing near zero. The world respected it. Some resented it, but everyone knew the rule. Then 2022 happened. Russia invaded Ukraine. Energy prices exploded. German industry, which had built itself around cheap Russian gas, suddenly had no cheap gas. And then came the recession. 1 quarter of negative growth, then another, then another. 5 consecutive quarters of shrinking GDP, making it the worst sustained contraction among major European economies. The debt break started to look less like discipline and more like a straitjacket. So in early 2025, Germany did something historic. They broke it. The new government, led by Chancellor Friedrich Merz, suspended the constitutional debt break and announced a spending package so large it shocked even Germany's closest allies, and the world applauded. But here's where it gets complicated. Germany didn't make one big spending commitment. They made 3, all at once. Think of it like this. Imagine a family that, in the same week, decides to renovate their entire house, buy a new car, and also just learned their elderly parents are moving in permanently. With all the healthcare costs that come with that, each decision might make sense on its own. Together, the bank account doesn't survive. Here are Germany's 3 bets. Bet 1, the Infrastructure Fund, 500 billion euros. That's 11.6% of Germany's entire annual economic output, earmarked for transport, energy, healthcare, education, and digitalization. Bridges, hospitals, broadband, schools. Germany's infrastructure has been quietly crumbling for years. The OECD flagged this explicitly in its 2025 economic survey of Germany. And this fund is the response. It's bold, it's necessary, and on its own, it would be the story of the decade. Bet 2, rearmament. This one is driven by geopolitics. With Trump back in the White House and NATO's future suddenly uncertain, Germany made a commitment that would have been unthinkable 5 years ago. Spend 3.5% of GDP on defense, plus an additional 1.5% on related security infrastructure. That's 5% of GDP total. To put that in perspective, Germany currently spends around 2%. Going to 5% means borrowing roughly 400 billion euros over 5 years. This isn't a budget line. This is a generational military transformation. Bet 3, an aging population nobody talks about. This is the quiet one. The one that doesn't make headlines, but might matter most. S&P Global, one of the world's most respected financial rating agencies, projects that Germany's age-related costs, pensions, healthcare, long-term care, will rise from under 20% of GDP today to over 24% by 2060. That's an additional 4% of GDP every single year just to keep promises already made to people already alive. 3 bets, each one massive, each one real, each one backed by genuine need. But now ask the uncomfortable question: who pays for all of it? Here's the analogy that makes this real. Imagine a restaurant. The food is ordered, the tables are full, the bills are coming. But the kitchen is slowly losing cooks, one every year, and nobody is replacing them fast enough. What will happen to the restaurant? It will eventually shut down. Well, that's Germany's workforce right now. Germany's working age population is shrinking by approximately 1% per year due to demographic decline alone, even accounting for moderate immigration. The baby boomer generation, which built post-war Germany into an industrial powerhouse, is retiring, and the generation behind them is simply smaller. This matters enormously because every euro of that 500 billion euro infrastructure fund needs workers to build it. Every soldier in that rearmed military needs to be recruited and trained. And every pension being paid out needs an active worker somewhere paying taxes to fund it. The IFO Institute, Germany's most influential economic research body, published a skeptical analysis in late 2025, questioning whether Germany has the economic and human capacity to actually deploy this special fund effectively. Their concern wasn't political. It was logistical. You can announce 500 billion euros, but if you don't have the engineers, the construction workers, the project managers, the money sits there. This is what economists call an absorption problem, and Germany has a serious one. All of this, the infrastructure, the rearmament, the pension commitments, is being funded by an economy that is currently in recession. 5 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. German industrial output has been falling. Major manufacturers have announced restructuring. The deindustrialization that economists warned about for years is no longer a future risk. It's a present reality. LBBW's chief economist Moritz Kramer used 2 words to describe Germany's pension trajectory: time bomb. Not because the system is broken today, but because the structural math, fewer workers, more retirees, higher costs, compounds quietly until it doesn't. And here's the EU layer that almost nobody mentions. Germany's new borrowing doesn't exist in a vacuum. European fiscal rules, even the reformed ones, still apply. Germany's spending decisions ripple through the Eurozone, affecting interest rates, bond markets, and the fiscal space of countries like Italy, Spain, and France. When the EU's largest economy suspends its debt brake and borrows at this scale, it changes the rules of the game for everyone. That's not a German problem. That's a European one. So why should you care wherever you are in the world? 3 reasons. First, Germany is the engine of European growth. If that engine misfires, if these 3 bets don't pay off, the slowdown doesn't stay inside Germany's borders. It spreads. Europe's political stability, its trade relationships, its ability to respond to global crises. All of that depends partly on a functioning German economy. Second, the rearmament story reshapes global security. A Germany spending 5% of GDP on defense is a different Germany entirely. That changes NATO dynamics, European strategic autonomy, and the calculation of every country from Russia to China that has factored a passive Germany into its assumptions. Third, what Germany is attempting right now is genuinely unprecedented. No major Western democracy has tried to simultaneously rebuild its infrastructure, rearm from near zero, and manage a demographic cliff, all while in recession. If Germany finds a way through this, the playbook matters for every aging post-industrial democracy watching from the sidelines. Here's what I want you to take away. The mainstream story is Germany finally stopped being stingy, and that's real. But the deeper story is this. Germany has made 3 massive simultaneous bets on infrastructure, on defense, and on its demographic future. And the math that connects all three has never been publicly audited in one place. This isn't a story about failure. Germany has surprised the world before. The post-war Wirtschaftswunder, the economic miracle, was built by a country that was literally in rubble in 1945. But miracles require more than ambition. They require the workers to build them, the economy to fund them, and the honesty to acknowledge when the numbers are harder than the headlines admit. Watch Germany over the next 18 months. Specifically, watch three things: whether the infrastructure fund actually gets deployed, whether the defense recruitment targets are met, and whether pension reform enters the political conversation. Because right now, Germany is writing the first chapter of a story that could either be Europe's greatest comeback or its most important lesson in what happens when big promises meet hard arithmetic. The next chapter hasn't been written yet, and that, honestly, is what makes this worth watching.